discuss this, we are joined on the line by Levan Gopal, who is Chief Investment Officer at Trademark Futures. Good afternoon to you and welcome, Levan. Is it a viable decision to sell off the shaft during a strike, or just a threat to the unions so that they can be able to budge?
Greetings, Colin. Firstly, there are a number of different approaches that one could look at with respect to the financial problems that Amplats is going through. As a consequence of the strike action, there is a lack of productivity, turnover has been compromised, and so the company has a problem to meet some of their fixed overheads. Your viewers will be interested to know a few days ago, Amplats made a declaration of force majeure. What this means is they were in a position that made them unable to comply with some of the costs, and so the suppliers and other parties that they owe funds to were forced to hold on until the situation changes. Of course, a number of players will not wait forever and will take legal action, and before it becomes critical, Amplats is now considering selling off some of its operations. Over a period of time, they have made as a group much more diverse investment out of South Africa, and it would seem at this juncture that the sale of the operations in Northwest may not have an immediate impact on their financials and their productivity, and unfortunately it comes about as a consequence of wages that have been in dispute by labor.
Just to chip in there, who would buy such a high-risk asset given the prevailing atmosphere in the platinum belt? Would any investor put money in such a project?
So there are at this juncture a number of players that have been looking at the asset. We are aware that Glencore has recently listed in South Africa. You may be aware that Glencore Xstrata is one of the largest commodity players in the world. Their listing in South Africa was contemplated to be with the mindset of acquisition. It was largely tipped that Anglo PLC would be the target, or some of their operations like Anglo Gold or Anglo Plats. So therein lies your first potential buyer. There are a number of large international players, Canadian-listed and London-listed players, that may also be in a position to buy the assets.
So what are the implications of the move, given that there was talk of mechanization and or retrenchments?
It sends a very clear signal to the market. Unfortunately, the mining operators are not in a position to meet the wage demands, and they are then forced to close doors. So on the one hand, it was a clamor for better wages, and I think by everyone's admission, South African mine workers have not been paid very well in terms of a global comparison. So all parties accept that. Where there is a failing is the companies are unable to make larger wage bills, and so for that reason, the company would rather close down. It sends a firm signal to other players in the marketplace, as well as to mine workers and the unions. Unfortunately, if this continues, South Africa may not have a mining sector any longer.
All right, Levan, thank you so much for an insightful analysis on the current development in as far as Anglo Platinum looking for a buyer. Moving on to other news now. After months of its outbreak, local restaurants and tourism industry in Guinea's capital, Conakry, are feeling the effect of Ebola. This is despite assurances from the country's health ministry that the outbreak is under control.
According to the latest reports from the West African nation, 106 people